All right, you read the title. I think this might be my most controversial video slash opinion. And, I'm getting bold. I'm feeling a bit more bold lately. I think one thing about going through a bit of a view dip is that you start to not care as much about like offending people or really caring too much about how people are going to view you, and you're more focused about just making sure content comes out. And that's where my brain is at. You guys look at the channel, there's been lots of content that I feel like has been great coming out, and I want to continue that role. And part of that is y'all getting to know the real me, which means that you know sometimes means giving out an opinion that is very unpopular. And as I see that the season is coming to a close and we're at the height of the popularity of this particular subject, I think it's best that I give my opinion on it and let y'all leave. Let the rest of y'all leave. I don't like football. Okay. My dad might disown me after this video. I've said it multiple times in my life. People look at me and the first thing they think is, you used to play football? Are you into football? Ever since I was like 10, people have been asking me to play football. I did play football for a very short amount of time when I was young. And when I say football, I mean American football. I understand not my entire audience is from America, and football does mean something different to a considerable amount of you, actually. So I want to preface this by saying I don't like American football. I'm just not into it. I went years of my life questioning, like, my own masculinity because people would try to tell me that I need to love football and I need to play it and I need to understand this sport, and I do understand it. I understand the rules. Like I said, I played it a little bit in school because I was looking for some kind of, purpose. And people always try to force you into certain extracurricular activities because they see other people that look like you doing that. And one thing that you're going to find out, I don't know what age you are, I'm talking to whoever is watching this. If you're a bit younger, which a good amount of my audience is a bit younger, they're between the ages of 18 and 25. Um, as you get older, you're going to realize that throughout life, there's going to be people who are going to look at you and put you in a box. Okay, they're just going to try to put you in that box. And the one thing that's going to be a growth for you as a person is when you stand on like how you feel about things and you search internally and you come to a conclusion about how you feel about something, and you're not afraid to voice that opinion, and you're not afraid to say no to these groups, to the box that people put you in, no to the activities. And that was something that I had to learn, with time. And I think I did learn it a little bit
My lord,
faster.
would that be the blade of Clan Saka?
I am still, I am still playing Ghost of Tsushima while I do this too, so I don't want to take too much away from the game. This game is incredible. Um, but what I came to realize was, if you try to force yourself to enjoy something just so that you can experience something along with other people, you're not going to recognize yourself anymore. And once you stop recognizing yourself and you stop knowing who you are, you, the consequences can be dire, okay? You start end up following trends, you start following down paths that other people want you to be on. There can be a lot of negative consequences for you. But on the lighter side of things, one negative consequence is that it just won't be enjoyable. You're not going to truly enjoy what it is that everyone else is trying to have you enjoy.
I kept running.
Because
But I looked
deep
back.
down inside, that's not you. And if it's not you, that's okay. You can find something else that's your path. That's something that resonates with you. And I had to learn that way. I had to learn that I wasn't going to be, not everyone was going to like me, and not I wasn't going to be able to join every crowd. Um, and that's okay. And I just kind of resonated with that. I was like, okay, well then I mean, it is what it is. If there's a crowd around something that I do genuinely like, I will find that crowd, and that crowd will find me. And to go more into why I don't like American football, because I know this kind of deviated a little bit about people and choices. Um, Football, uh, ugh. It's a very how do I put this? It's a sport that is based around physicality and uh some skill in regards to using that physicality. But when it comes to mm, when it comes to a balance, when it comes to different teams facing off each other, and what is dynamic about strategy, which is what I like about games. It's part of the reason why I like watching things that are competitive. Those things start to go out the window because of that difference in physicality. Not only that, but there's so much, and actually this is going to splinter in why I don't like boxing, which could be a different video as well. There's so much risk involved. There's so much risk involved to the players that is actually detrimental to their lives, and it's not obvious in the beginning. It's not obvious until maybe even a whole decade later after the fact. We're now even seeing it for players now, and no one even talks about it. No one talks about the players that were amazing when they were around, when they were at the height of their career, and then are suffering brain damage and PTSD many years later afterward. They like those people, they're not even mentioned anymore. One person that is still mentioned that I like to cite as an example is the black man Antonio Brown. Look at that man. His whole life is essentially ruined. On one aspect, his talent got him to heights that no other man could probably, like, many other men can't reach, right? Like, that's just a fact. We can go ahead and acknowledge that. Football has that ability to do that. It can transcend culture as well for people. It can be a very powerful thing for people. It can, for some, it's like a religious experience. I'm just so go ahead and list all these things that are positives. But on that other side of the coin, you have people who put way too much stock into it. There's a whole world of gambling that is weirdly obsessive, that seems to be acceptable. Fantasy football gambling, which I know personally of people who were ruined by that market. And then you have this side of the players that are being exploited. They're judged purely off of physicality. And you have people who are literally stripping them down to their underwear and then judging them based on how they look in that and how they run up across the field. There's something very odd about that, and I feel like it was like I'm in trouble for even mentioning any of this. People come for me because I'm even talking about this very problematic nature that comes with this sport. I don't think it's right that predominantly for the sport we have majority African American men, and the primary people who own this sport, who make all the money from the sport, are not that race. I'm just being real. And maybe that is another thing too for why I don't like majority of American sports. Like I couldn't resonate with something like that. It just feels exploitive. And then they sell this dream and they prop it up in every you know, impoverished household in communities of people who, you know, we could have been propped up to become doctors or become something that could be a little bit helpful towards society, like a bit more helpful towards society. But instead, this is propped up instead, which makes us want to chase that world. And it's like, why? Why? Why do we have to do this? Once I realized that there was a whole world out there of competitive play that wasn't so surrounded by the physicality of it and men having to strip down to their drawers to be judged, once I understood that esports was a thing, I just started leaning more heavily towards that as a young man. Maybe also was because I was bigger. I couldn't join the games as much. Like, I didn't want to get into that whole physical world of it. I'm not gonna lie, conditioning kicked my ass when I was younger. It did. I wasn't into it. So I got more into video games. There's a big problematic issue with video games too in the esports world. But when I try to weigh the two, oh my gosh, it's not even close. It's not even close. And I do still enjoy basketball for the most part, but I don't really follow it. I don't really watch sports in general, partially because of those things that I mentioned. And like, they're just kind of in the background. I don't really talk about it, or, to people. I never really give my opinion too much. When people ask me, I'm like, yeah, I'm just not into it. I just don't watch it. And then that's pretty much it. I never really go into this aspect of, I kind of feel like my people might be, like, people that look like me might be being exploited to this extent. And I also feel like there are many people who push back against this. There are a lot of credible arguments of people being like, well, look, there's all kinds of other industries that exploit black people. Look at the music industry. Look at the entertainment industry in general. That is fair. But that's not my problem, right? And the physicality aspect of it is something that is being ignored there. In a Hollywood movie, a black man doesn't necessarily have to strip down to their drawers and be judged on, how many push-ups or how fast they can sprint up and down a field. They don't actually have to. That is something that happens, but I'm just saying, like, that's not, like, that's more of like a choice, and they can do everything they can. They can reach the heights of Hollywood without having to do that. Not only that, but let's look at the statistics, right? I don't even know the percentage. I don't even need to look it up. You and I both know that the percentage of people that will actually make it to the professional league in football is slim. It's little to none, right? Like, it's very slim. I don't know. I want to almost compare the statistics to the lottery. I wonder which one is better for me. Like, and both are, in a way, somewhat destructive, but obviously one will take way less toll on the brain and on the body than the other. So I ask you, like, before you come for me in the comments section, which I know that this comment section is going to be interesting if people actually watch this video, consider my arguments. Consider what I'm saying, why I don't like it. If you still want to go and support it, power to you. I don't bash anyone who loves football. I really don't. I don't come out of my way to bash anyone. I have friends, family who absolutely love football. That's okay. If you want to go and continue to support it, power to you. That's your thing. This is just me coming out and being like, look, this is a box I was put in as a young man. This is something that people have always been telling me over and over again and been like trying to like force me into. And I feel like it's something that people just kind of look at me and be like, oh, isn't this something you are into? No. Nope. And I want you guys to know that about me. So now that you know that about me, now you can choose whether or not you want to stick around. Tell me, y'all, this will be the breaking point. This will be y'all jumping off point. Y'all are done with me. Like, hell no. I do talking crap about football, American football. Hell no. And then some of y'all might feel me. Some of y'all might be like, you know what? Nate's kind of cooking. You let me know what you thought in the comment section, because I am interested in hearing input on this one.